Hey, my name is Jimmy Fung, and in today's video, I will be talking about what it actually takes to make 10K per month inside of your business. And for those of you who do not know who I am, I run a lead generation agency called salesway.io. And around half a year ago, I actually launched my second business, which is a consulting program. It's called inboxlab.io. Inside of that consulting program, I work with people to start and get their own lead generation agencies to 10K per month in the next 90 days. Now, the reason why I share this with you at the beginning of the video is not because I'm trying to pitch it to you, it's not because I'm trying to sell it to you, but the reason I'm talking about it is because up until now, I've worked with a bunch of different people one-on-one towards helping them build and start their own lead generation agency, basically helping them start their business and make money. And what I'm starting to see is I'm starting to see a lot of different patterns. I'm collecting a lot of data because I'm working with so many people, and I'm seeing who makes money and who doesn't. Because even inside the consulting program, there is people who are making a lot of money, right? Thousands of dollars every single month with their own lead generation agencies. But on the other side, there's also people who aren't that successful, people who start who try, who just give up after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case is, or people who just aren't making money or not able to sign clients. And that's the truth, right? I'm not gonna try to convince you that every single person that I work with gets amazing results. Every person I work with ends up making thousands of dollars and achieves a life of financial freedom, right? I'm not trying to lie to you. But the reason why I share that with you is because I'm seeing a lot of patterns as to the people who are succeeding and the people who are making a lot of money. What are they doing differently than the people who are just struggling, or people who just quit, or people who are not making money at all? And one of the largest things that I realized is the factor of hunger. Because I know when I was first starting out, so I started my own lead generation agency in October 2022. And by December 2022, so around 2.5-ish months later, I was at $10,000 per month. And I think the largest factor that got me to $10,000 per month in basically 60-ish days wasn't necessarily the tactics, wasn't necessarily the strategies, it wasn't the specifically what I was doing, but it was the way I thought and approached the business. And the largest thing that I had was that hunger to succeed. And even when I was waking up and I didn't feel like doing something, I was waking up, didn't feel like taking sales calls. I was waking up, opening my bank account, and the digits were not there. I was looking at my credit card statements and I was thousands of dollars in debt, and I just didn't have the money to pay off all of that debt. For some reasons that I just can't explain, I had this unwavering belief that I would make it. I had this unwavering confidence that one day I would figure all of this out, this will all be behind me, and I would figure out and be able to build a business that pays me thousands of dollars every single month. And here I am 2 years later in that exact position, right? So even when my reality did not exactly align with my goals, it did not exactly align with what I was expecting, I still had that unwavering belief that I would make it and I would figure everything out. And that's one of the biggest factors of all the people who do end up succeeding in business, is they have this unwavering confidence that they would just figure everything out and everything would just be all right, no matter what they're facing in the current moment. Now, with that being said, I think one of the largest factors that determine whether someone succeeds or kind of just fails in business is the hunger. Because it's not necessarily about the tactics again, right? Like, I think one of the biggest mistakes or biggest myths that people have about business is if you follow this one very specific tactic, if you follow this one very specific strategy, this is your path to riches. And I obviously think that certain tactics, certain strategies work better than others. Certain business models is more simple and more easier than others. But at the same time, if you have that hunger to figure things out, it's not about the how. You will figure out the how if if you have a powerful why and you just have that hunger to succeed. I remember when I was first starting out in business, there were literally nights where I would try to go to bed and I wouldn't be able to sleep for hours. And what I was thinking is, how do I make it? I'd be thinking about all these different things, thinking about potential ideas, potential strategies for what I need to do in order to make more money. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's what you call hunger. And all the people that I'm working with, the people who are making money, there's a lot of people making money that I'm working with. And there's also a few people who aren't making money. And all the people who aren't making money, they just kind of lack that hunger. They don't really take this seriously. And it's kind of like if you were trying to become a professional athlete. Obviously there's like that 0.001% of people who are born and are just super gifted. They are just natural born athletes and they're able to go professional strictly off of the talents with minimal work. The vast majority of professional athletes, they are putting in the work. They are waking up every single day. They're waking up very early in the morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever the case is, and they're hitting the gym. If they're playing basketball, right? They're shooting the basketball. If they're playing football, playing soccer, they're kicking the ball, whatever the case is. And they're putting in the work every single day. And I think that's one of the biggest things as well with the people who do succeed is they're just hungry. So even when they encounter different problems, even as they're going through the business journey and they get stuck on this very one specific problem or something happens to them, something super, super unfortunate happens to them, they don't really adopt a victim mentality and they don't tell themselves, oh, why did this happen to me? I'm kind of just screwed, and they just give up. That's not what they do. The people who are making a lot of money, what I've noticed is whenever they encounter these different problems, yeah, they might be a little bit bummed out in the very beginning. They might be a little bit sad about it, but they also then tell themselves, what do I need to do in order to get around this? What do I need to do to figure this out? And that's one of the biggest factors is the people who do succeed in business, they're just hungry. And unfortunately, that's not like personally what I think is that's not really something that could be taught because hunger needs to be from within. You can't just tell someone else to be hungrier and then they will suddenly wake up the next day and be super hungry to make it in business. That's not how it works. The people who are very hungry, they know for certain that they will succeed, even if they don't know specifically how, and they give it their all. Kind of like in sales, right? A lot of salespeople, they miss quota, right? You can search this up on Google. I think like 70 or 80% of salespeople actually miss their quota. These are people with jobs, 9 to 5 salespeople. But what separates the people at the top 20% of salespeople, those are the people who are hungry. So a really good analogy of this, a really good example of this is, let's say you're making a cold call. You're picking up the phone and you're dialing and you're cold calling someone and someone doesn't pick up. The 80% of salespeople who actually miss quota, what they do is they call that person, it goes to voicemail, and they're like, oh, well, it is what it is. I'm gonna just move on to the next guy. But the top 20% of people, they don't stop. Just because they called once and it went to voicemail, that doesn't discourage them from calling them every single day for the next week. I know salespeople who actually show up to that person's office waiting for them to ask them, hey, John, I just called you a couple times. I emailed you like 3-4 times. Didn't hear back. Is this something you're still interested in or not really? That's what you call hungry. The will to just make it. You're willing your way to success and doing whatever it takes at all costs in order to make it. That's called hunger. And that's one of the largest things that I've seen from the people who are making money is they all have the hunger. They tell themselves they will figure it out no matter what happens and they will make it at all costs. And obviously the people who aren't making money, they kind of lack that hunger. And that's one of the largest reasons why they don't succeed in this business. I think the other thing that is required in order to get to $10,000 a month is speed. And I think speed is a really real thing and speed, I think to a degree is tied to hunger as well. Because if you knew that you just had to figure something out in the next 30 days to pay rent, to pay food, and if you don't figure things out, then you'll be on the streets and you'll be hungry. Well, guess what? You're moving with so much urgency that you're going to be putting in these actions at a much quicker pace than if you knew that even if you do absolutely nothing, you still have a shelter over your head, you still have food on the table. And the reason why is because you're not moving with that urgency. And I think in business, it's very important for you to move with speed. What's the difference between someone who's making thousands of dollars inside of the business versus someone who is struggling? Well, one of the largest things outside of hunger is just speed. The person who's making thousands of dollars, they're putting in the actions at 10 times the input, 100 times the input versus someone who is not necessarily getting those outputs and people who aren't necessarily making money. And that's all speed. When they come up with these ideas, they get started and they do it right away. They don't tell themselves, okay, this is a great idea. Let me explore this in a week. Let me explore this in 2 weeks. No, that's not what they do. They sit down later that day and they just get right to work. And that's how you get to things fast and speed. That's one of the biggest things. I think the next thing is problem solving because obviously, again, right, I have a consulting program, but I also make these YouTube videos to kind of teach people how to build their own lead generation agencies, how to sign their first client, even without any case studies, even without any experience. And I try to go in as much detail as I can, kind of like in a step-by-step. And I encourage people that as they're going through that process, even if they don't want to work with me, if they do have questions, they could comment in the YouTube comments or they can message me on Instagram. And actually the other day, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but someone actually DM'd me on Instagram and they asked me, hey Jimmy, I love your videos. How do you change the profile picture on Outlook? And I looked at that message and in my mind, I was like, come on, bro. This is stuff that you could literally search on Google. It's a 10-second Google search away. And in a way, that's called problem solving. Because yeah, I'm here on one hand to support people, to answer different people's questions, but these are all things that people can figure out on their own. And it doesn't require a lot of work to figure out, right? This is not rocket science. It's a very simple task. And the truth is, again, not to be disrespectful, but the truth is if you're struggling with these things where you're basically asking different people on very basic stuff, such as how to set up a profile picture, then your chance of making it in business, the chance of your success is relatively low. I'm just being completely honest, right? Because at the end of the day, business is hard, it's the most competitive sport in the world. And if you're stuck on something simple, such as setting profile pictures, and you just can't figure it out on your own, then you're kind of screwed. Because down the line, 2 months from now, let's say you, in the unlikely chance that that person actually makes money from building their own lead generation agency. What happens when they have a difficult client? What happens when they have email deliverability issues? What happens if they're not getting the results that they're expecting from their cold email campaign? Those are not questions that you can easily Google search. You just kind of have to figure them out on your own. And if people are struggling with these very basic questions that are very easily Googleable, I don't know if that's a word, but questions that could be very easily solved by using a quick Google search, then the chance of making it is just not very high. And I think, again, right, one of the biggest things that I've seen from the people who are making money, the people I'm working with, is they exhibit a very high level of problem solving. I'm here as a resource to help them, but they're also not asking me, I guess for a lack of better words, dumb questions that they could easily figure out on their own. They're actually trying it out. They're actually sitting there thinking about what is the best different solutions to whatever question they have, different problems they have. And then once they can't figure it out, then they come to me and ask me. And those are the people who are making money. Those are the people who are succeeding in business. They're trying it themselves first. And then once they really can't figure it out, they ask me or they ask an expert. They ask someone who's been there and could give them the answer. And that's the best way to learn, right? Even in school, there's a reason, there were times when I didn't necessarily do the homework, but there's a reason why homework is integrated as part of the education system. Is because what the schools want you to do is, let's say you're doing math. They want you to try to figure out these questions yourself first. And in the scenario that you try really, really hard, you try a math equation multiple times and you just get stuck in this very specific thing and you can't solve this formula, that's when you ask the teacher. And as the teacher explains to you what could be done differently and how to solve that problem, in your mind, it kind of clicks and you're like, oh, so this is how you do it. This is what I was doing before. This is the way to do it. This is what I was doing wrong. And that's called learning, but that's also called problem solving. So it's very important in business to have problem solving skills. And if you kind of just lack that, then it's going to be very, very hard to succeed in business. So that's the second point, problem solving. The third point of what I think it actually takes in order to hit $10,000 a month is understanding and kind of like your mindset behind the business. Because I think one of the biggest flaws with YouTube, one of the biggest flaws with all these people online talk about business is, in a way, they market, because I guess they're trying to sell you a course, right? In a way, they're trying to market the stuff as a get rich quick scheme. Maybe they don't explicitly say it, but in a way, the overall messaging is, if you work with me, you will become a millionaire in the next year. You will become a multi-millionaire in the next 6 months. And anyone who tells you that is simply lying. Here's the truth about getting rich. If you want to get rich in a very short period of time, you know what you should do? You should go and buy a lottery ticket. You should go and buy a random meme coin, YOLO your life savings, inside of a meme coin. Inside my Twitter, every single day I wake up, I scroll through Twitter and I see different people just buying these random different crypto meme coins. And jokes aside, I'm not telling you to do any of those things, but you get what I'm saying, right? If you want to get rich in a very short period of time, your chance of actually getting rich gambling is higher than in any business, because that is impossible in business. How you should approach it is, rather than thinking about how can you get rich quick, think about the skills that you need that will allow you to make money. What type of skills is that? Is that learning sales? Is that learning marketing? Is that learning how to approach entrepreneurship the right way and developing the sub skills that will allow you to succeed in your business ventures? Those are the skills that will allow you to make money. And I think more than that, one of the biggest flaws with online business or any service business, I know obviously I run a lead generation agency, is people kind of approach it from the angle of how can I enrich my own pockets? But that's also one of the wrong ways to approach it. Wrong ways, again, right? This is not objectively right or wrong. The people who succeed and the people who end up making a lot of money, they have their client's interest at heart first. So they tell themselves, what can I do to help someone else, to help my client make a lot of money? Because they understand that if they're able to help other people make a lot of money, then them themselves will then end up making a lot of money as a result. But a lot of people approach it from the opposite angle, where they ask themselves, what can I do to line my own pockets in? And they don't really think about their clients or other people. But what I have found is the more you're able to help other people get rich, help people solve a problem, that's how you will make money yourself, right? So don't believe in any get rich quick schemes. I don't think any guru online, any person on YouTube is going to tell you this, but there's no such thing as getting rich quick. I know, again, right, inside my own business, I started my lead generation agency, and 2 months later I was at 10K per month. But what a lot of people don't realize is I've tried a bunch of different business models even before I started my lead generation agency. I built a failed dropshipping store where I actually lost a few $100. I've tried email marketing. I've tried SMMA. I've tried a bunch of these different things. And even though I didn't actually make money and they were kind of failures, I still developed a lot of skills. Now, obviously, not every single one of those skills are relevant for what I'm doing now, right? Me learning how to pick a winning product for my dropshipping store has very low correlation to what I'm actually doing right now with my own lead generation agency. But going through that process, learning how to problem solve as I was going through these failed business models, learning how to deal with uncertainty, learning how to market my own products or market my own services allowed me to succeed really, really quickly once I actually pivoted and transitioned into my own lead generation agency. And the key reason behind that is I built a lot of these invisible skills that allowed me to not only approach this business, this lead generation agency business, with the right strategies and the right tactics. Because, for example, I was using cold emails inside my own email marketing agency. I was doing that for like half a year. So I learned how to do cold emails before I actually started my lead generation business. But it also allowed me to learn how to think, how to approach business as a whole. Whenever, the problem solving stuff that I was talking about earlier, I learned how to problem solve. Whenever I was running into these like random little problems, I figured out how to figure it out on my own, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's one of the largest factors that allowed me to succeed at the timelines that I did, at the pace I did, and with the results that I did. So that's pretty much this video. It's a very raw video. I had a couple of notes, but I think I went went on different tangents and stuff like that. It's very, very raw. I wanted to be as authentic as I can. The way I got the inspiration for this video was last night. I was actually driving around in downtown Toronto. It was around midnight. And the reason why I was doing that was I was just trying to drive around to clear my head. And I was thinking about the people I'm working with. Why are some people able to succeed, and those same people who are succeeding are making multiple thousands every single month within 2 months, within 3 months of working with me, while some other people are just flat out struggling and not getting results? And why certain people they just try this and they quit after 2 months? And these are kind of the three main reasons. Again, right? Hunger, problem solving, and not approaching it from the angle of how do I get rich quick? How do I get rich in a very short period of time by lining my own pockets? And I think these are three of the most largest reasons as to why someone would succeed in business. So if you are watching this video, and hopefully this video gave you a little bit of a mindset shift, if you listen to these 3 points and they kind of click for you, hopefully that gives you a little bit of a better idea as to how you should approach your own business journey, increasing your own chance of success and likelihood of making money in whatever business you're building, right? If you're building a lead generation agency, if you're doing copywriting, you're building an SMA, you're dropshipping, whatever the case is, hopefully this helped you. And I think if you are building a lead generation agency, and you want to get to 10K per month in the next 90 days, you want to work with me, then I included a link in my calendar in the link below. On that call, we will chat to learn more about your goals, what you'd like to achieve in the next 90 days, in the next 6 months, in the next year. And we'll put together a personalized roadmap as to how I can help you. Because I work with people one-on-one. I help people pick a niche. I help people craft their offers, write their cold email scripts, put together their VSL scripts. I do every single one of those things for them. And again, right, there are people making a lot of money with this, but the people who are succeeding, they also have those intangibles. Oops, my SD card just died. So signing off, and just wanted to hop back on for the final 5 seconds. But hope you found this video valuable. If you did, make sure you drop me a like, drop me a comment if you have a question or if you want to share a comment. And please make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. See ya.